From the Oklahoman newsroom, you're watching an OU Update. I'm Jenny Carlson here in studio with Ryan Aber. Ryan, West Virginia coming to Oklahoma on Saturday, 11 o'clock kick, of course.
Again.
Again, right, and again, and again. Returning, we think, for the Mountaineers will be Austin Kendall. He'll be there in some form or fashion. We don't know if he'll be starting, but obviously he's the transfer quarterback who was at Oklahoma for 3 years, left, went there. Do we expect he's going to play because he got hurt a week ago?
Yeah, it sounds like there's a chance that he plays. He sort of strained his pectoral muscle after getting hit while he was throwing. His arm sort of got pulled back and stretched out that muscle. Was going to give it a test yesterday. Not quite sure how the throwing drill went. We'll see his status moving forward through the week. But they're a whole lot more confident that he's got a chance to play on Saturday now versus a couple days ago, because it looked like a pretty scary injury when it happened.
Yeah, and he obviously left Oklahoma after Jalen Hurts decided to transfer there. He had he'd been a backup for a couple years, redshirted a year, but was essentially running out of time. And then there was the whole brouhaha, if you will, about his transfer. Was Lincoln Riley going to allow it? What's the situation now as it relates to just basically the Kendalls and Oklahoma? Well,
talking to Brian Kendall, Austin's dad, yesterday, he said everything's fine between them and Lincoln Riley. They understand why Lincoln Riley did what he did, was protecting him, because if you remember, the timeline was a little off, that Austin Kendall announced he was transferring or decided to transfer right before Jalen Hurts committed. It was more Oklahoma pursuing Jalen Hurts and a transfer quarterback that led Austin Kendall to decide, hey, if I'm going to do something, I've got to do it now, because as his dad said, he sort of been the good soldier for so long. He had to serve as a backup his true freshman year when he and Baker Mayfield were the only scholarship quarterbacks. Then he had to redshirt the next year after, obviously, Baker Mayfield was still the starter. And then he lost out to Kyler Murray, which obviously no one can blame Lincoln Riley for picking Kyler Murray. He just went and won the Heisman.
Right.
So they understood all the things that happened that led him to this point, but at the same time, they're like, well, if you're going to do anything, you've got to do it now. You've got to pull the trigger. So, yes, there was some tension in January, but that tension's gone now.
Lastly, if he does play, what kind of quarterback can Sooner fans expect to see on the other side wearing a Mountaineers uniform?
Well, at times he's been effective. He's made some good throws. Decision-making hasn't always been perfect with some interceptions, although a chunk of that comes from the fact that they haven't been able to protect him at all. He's had to make very quick decisions, hasn't had much time to get back into the pocket and read his receivers, read the defenses, and that's led to some of those things. So, talking to Brian Kendall, he said, I understand that why they wanted Jalen Hurts. He's got the experience, he wins. He said Lincoln Riley went for a home run and hit it out of the park. And certainly it's worked out well for Oklahoma's side, but I think there's a lot of people here who hope it works out well for the Austin Kendall side, except Saturday.
Right. All right, that game is 11 o'clock on Saturday down in Norman. It's on Fox. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at oklahoman.com and every day in the Oklahoman.